edition of Broadcasting on the Beach with Halftime Howie. And before we interview our guests, I want to thank the local Long Beach media for doing a great job help publicizing our show. First of all, Chris and Joe Kellett from Patch doing a great job. Woo! Great video. And a great story. Here it is. It appeared in this week's Long Beach Herald. Halftime Howie show, radio show, a big hit. The Long Beach Herald did a great story on our show this week in the Herald, page 11. So if you get a chance, check out the story in this week's Long Beach Herald on page 11. But last week, the front page story in the People of the Year in the Long Beach Herald, very prestigious award, went to Anthony Fallon, Antonio Cuevas, Hadrick Ray about their dramatic rescue in the town of Long Beach. And the woman they rescued is here tonight, so it's a great story. And first of all, Anthony Fallon, welcome to the show. And how has this great rescue changed your life with all the great publicity and all the great stuff that I know you're doing your job, but how has it changed you having all this great things happen to you and all this great stuff being involved in this great event?
Well, it's definitely exciting. Again, Glenn always accuses us of being very modest about it. We always say we were just doing our job. I mean, it's great that the outcome turned out the way that it did. And we made some great friends along the way. Got Maxwell King and his mom Vanna. In that respect, what more could you ask for?
Let's go to breakdown. What exactly happened that night, and describe it in your words about how, from the beginning to end, how the whole rescue took place that night.
All right. Well, basically, like it says in the story, I was working in the firehouse. Just a normal night in the firehouse, and the call came in about 3 o'clock. So when the call came over the PA system, it was originally dispatched to us as the wrong address. So the first responding units basically responded to the wrong address, and that basically put us in a tough situation because we had calls. We had a call of a house fire with the possibility of people trapped, and here we are at the address that we have. That we were given the address, and it turns out to be the wrong one. So obviously we're there, and we're looking to do our job, and we're not at the right location. So that made it difficult to I guess what it did is it made actually finding the right address a big relief, and we knew that we were at the right address because we had some smoke coming out the windows. And basically we just went in, we forced entry to the door. Again, we were hoping that when we got there that the residents would be outside, but unfortunately that was not the case. So we went inside and forced entry to the door, forced entry to the upstairs apartment, which Glenn and Maxwell lived in. And immediately I went in and went into Maxwell's bedroom and found him sleeping in his bed. So basically scooped him up and ran him back downstairs. And basically I'm a parent, so I kind of put 2 and 2 together and realized that there had to be another victim in there because nobody would leave a good-looking boy like Maxwell in a house alone that's on fire. So I went back in with a lot of urgency to find his parent or parents, and I met Assistant Chief Cuevas at the top of the stairs, and after a very brief discussion, we started looking for another bedroom. And when we crawled down the hallway, again in high heat and no visibility, just relying on our hands and flashlights, we found Glenna's bedroom, and she was unconscious on the floor. So we, Assistant Chief Cuevas and myself, we scooped her up and started to make our way downstairs. And as as we were coming down the hallway, I kind of got tangled up in the hose line, and that's when I kind of needed a little more assistance carrying Glenna. So Captain Patrick Ray stepped in and assisted Antonio Cuevas and myself downstairs to a waiting ambulance that transported Glenna to the hospital.
Wow, what a story. Chief Cuevas, in all your years, what makes this rescue stand out above all others? And what are your recollections of that night?
Just like firefighter Fallon said, it was pretty dramatic. When we get a call for a reported house fire, and we have great dispatchers and firefighters and police in the city of Long Beach. It was a great team effort by Firecom, Long Beach dispatchers, Long Beach PD, and what stood out is that it was a combined effort that we all were working together so diligently to save this woman and her child. And we got the reports that there were people trapped. Once we did get there, and it was confirmed as firefighter Fallon forced the door and found Maxwell, the beautiful little boy, laying asleep in his bedroom. We knew that there was someone else in there, and the urgency it kicks in, and we realize that we got to get in there, we got to get it out, and it's a scary feeling. All firefighters dream about the day that they can make the dramatic rescue. That's not what it's all cracked out to be. I mean, when you're there and you're actually doing it, it's really scary. And myself and firefighter Fallon, when we crawled into the room and we found Glenn on the ground, it was like we gotta go, we gotta get out of here. And what stands out most is that it was a combined effort. I mean, everybody pitched in, from the two firefighters who removed Glenna to the hospital, and myself, firefighter Fallon, and Captain Ray with the rescue, and with the engine company and the truck companies for extinguishing the fire. I mean, it was a combined effort. I mean, everybody worked really good, and everybody did their job, and we did it well that day.
That's awesome. And we were talking before the show. Glenna King was rescued that night, and before this event, Glenna, like so many people in so many towns, take the fire department for granted. Glenna, talk about, from your perspective, what happened that night.
Okay, let's see. Well, it's just amazing that what firefighters do. They actually come into an apartment that's burning with flames and smoke, and just come in to save somebody's life and risk their own life, and that would affect their families. And especially two of them were volunteer firefighters, so they got out of their beds in the middle of the night to just come save somebody, just to help and save somebody. I think it's amazing, and they're so courageous, because after experiencing being in a fire and the smoke and everything, it is really, really scary. And I don't know how they do it, but I'm so glad that they do. They're so brave.
After this heroic rescue, a bond was created among yourself, Maxwell, and Antonio, and Anthony. Talk about the bond that you now have with these gentlemen because of this dramatic rescue.
Well, the first thing I thought about on Thanksgiving when I woke up, there were a lot of things I was thankful for this year, but the biggest thing was that the three of them were there that night and saved me and my son, because if they weren't there, I wouldn't have a life any longer. I mean, I was very, very, very close to death, and if they didn't get there in time and get me out of there, I may not be sitting here right now, and my son would not have a mother. Just just every holiday, I think about them and I email them or text them or send them a card or something because I'm just thankful that they saved me and I could live to, celebrate another holiday or another birthday. So.
Anthony, talk about from your perspective. I'm sure this doesn't happen too often where you develop a bond with someone you save, but this is a rare case. Talk about from your perspective the bond that you now feel with Glenna and Maxwell King because of saving their life that dramatic night.
Yeah, I mean the bond is great. I mean, we just finished up, the Long Beach Fire Department just finished up our year, and I think the Long Beach Fire Department did over 4,000 calls a year. I think the number was 4,600, somewhere around there. So basically, if you break that down, I guess I'm responsible for 1,000 calls a year. I've been with the fire department for 19 years. So you can imagine the amount of people I've interacted with over the years. And every once in a while, you see somebody that you helped in wall bombs or whatever. But like Glenna said, I mean, we text each other, we email each other, we talk to each other all the time. It's great. Maxwell stops by the firehouse. It's just wonderful. Need to get him by the firehouse again. He hasn't been there in a while. So maybe we'll do another class trip or something.
Okay, we got about 1 minute left in the segment, but I spoke to Antonio before the show, and Marv McMore, the homecoming king from Long Beach High School, is here, and I have an idea, and Antonio, I'm going to ask you right now on the air. I think after people listening to this segment tonight, they realize how important, how vital the fire department is. And when the weather gets nice, I'd like to do a show from the firehouse. What do you think of that idea? And what do you think that will be like, having all these high school kids running around a fire department, sitting in the truck and getting to know and doing a whole 1 hour show from the firehouse?
Well, first I'd like to say thanks you for putting me on the spot. I appreciate that. Marvin, I've met Marvin. I've actually worked with him before. He's a great guy. I love it. Like Firefighter Balance said, our doors are always open. Anytime anybody wants to come down, no matter what, take a tour of the firehouse, even just to come down and, even to join. The doors are always open, and anytime they can come down and we can work out something together.
Marv McMore, let's welcome him, the homecoming king. He's so involved in the community. Marv, what do you, as a Long Beach student who's so active in so many different events, what do you think of that idea, having all the high school kids at the firehouse?
I think it would be a really great idea.
Just talking.
I think it would be a really great idea because as students we don't really appreciate as much as we should the people who actually take part in our community, and this story is very touching because it tells us how precious life is and how hard they have to work to save it.
All right, very well said. And we're going to take a break, and coming up after the break, first of all, let's have a round of applause for these great firemen. If you were not moved by their dramatic story, nothing will move you, and they're so deserving for People of the Year in Long Beach. But coming up after the break, Shannon Roman, Relay for Life, and a huge event coming up at Knights of Columbus over the weekend. So, the Long Beach High School report's coming. I am Halftime Howie. This is Broadcasting on the Beach with Halftime Howie. And more fun, more Long Beach coming up after the break on the first and oldest station in Long Island, WGBB.